Good morning, zookeepers, and welcome back. Today I've got something a little bit different for you. Imagine taking yourself back to 2002. You've just finished school, you've just come back from work or whatever you were doing back then, and you go onto your computer and then you go and play the classic Zoo Tycoon. And I say 2002 because that's when Dino Digs and Marine Mania were added to that game. Zoo Tycoon did come out in 2001. But yeah, I'm going to give you a little playthrough of what I've been making. I've just been having a little bit of a laugh for it. I did just originally was recording myself just randomly playing it. I wasn't really going to make a video out at first, but then I was like, you know what, why not? Because I know there'll be some people out there that have never played Zoo Tycoon, the original classic one, and have seen it. And for some people, this might be a little bit nostalgic for them. But yeah, anyways, I hope you enjoy the video.
So here we are, we're going to build our first enclosure for a dinosaur. We're going to use the Styracosaurus. Now, I had to kind of slightly reteach myself how to play this game. It's been a while since I've been on it and playing various other games for such a long time. It kind of took me a little while to figure it. Some bits I completely forgot. As you see right now, I'm just making a Styracosaurus enclosure. I've got my 4 eggs down. I put them a house down, which sooner or later on, I realised they don't actually need a house for their enclosure. But yeah, this is what I tend to do in my free time. I think I've made a Zoo Tycoon video in ages. I only did a quick show off of a few different things, and I thought I'd just slap record on just in case I actually do want to make a video on it. And I found myself to have some spare time, so I thought, why not make a little video on it? Whilst I was waiting for the Styracosaurus to hatch, I quickly made a zebra enclosure, and this is what I tend to do whilst I wait for eggs to hatch. I just use the normal day creatures, and then when the eggs are hatched, I can go back to making their enclosure. So yeah, I placed down a few plants. I was like, yeah, they like it, and I completely forgotten how you can see what the animal needs are. You'll see me a few times click on them and oh, well, they're sad, how do I tell? And I completely forgot that you had to click the little scientist in the corner to find out. So yeah, if you do play this game or find this game to play, yeah, just pro tip, if you're doing dinosaurs, you see the scientist in the corner, click that. If you see the zookeeper, click that, or the scuba diver, and that'll tell you all the facts you need to know about your dinosaurs, fish, and also mammals, and various other animals. But yeah, I used to love this game. I think it was 2001 the first game came out, and 2002 we got the DLC Dino Digs and Marine Mania. And I used to love playing this game. I'd come back from, I can't even remember how old I was then. It would have been school, I'm guessing. I'd come back and I'd play this game for hours. I used to absolutely love this game. It was either this or Age of Empires. That was my childhood games at the time, and eventually it was 2001. Oh, I can't really remember when Jurassic Park Operation Genesis came out. I used to play that. They were my main core games that I used to play. But yeah, anyways, we were just still messing around trying to figure out what they wanted, what they liked. And whilst I was sort of trying to rack my brains a bit, I sort of placed down another enclosure. And I thought, maybe sell them? Maybe there's too many of them. They're not happy with how many in the enclosure. And I thought that would do the trick. And then again, I was like, oh, that hasn't done too much, so I'm still trying to figure out how the hell I find out what, find out what I'm doing for my enclosure. I was like, oh, what's going on? How do I find out? You see me just clicking all these random buttons, completely forgetting how to click the little scientist in the corner. And I don't even know how I forgot how to do that. I mean, I know it's been a while and I don't play it every day, all the day. But yeah, somehow I managed to just completely overlook this little bit of fact. After a while from finding out, I clicked it. I was like, all right, yeah, that's how you do it. And it comes up with this nice long list of things it's missing. And if it's in red, it's really bad. If it's not in red, then it's so-so and it's not going to affect it too much. But it would be a lot happier if it had those requests done. So yeah, I just started messing around, trying to make the enclosure look kind of pretty, in the sense of compared to this game. Obviously, today's graphics are completely, in awe to these. I mean, back in the day, these were ace. You're like, oh wow, that's you could tell what it was. And then when you come back to this game, you sort of do think like, oh, like I remember this being way better in graphics. But definitely when you put it side by side, if I was to put this baby Styracosaurus side by side with a Jurassic World Styracosaurus, you'd be like, oh right, yeah, that's the difference. But yeah, just messing around, finding out which foliage it would like. To just say it's foliage, and I kind of had to guess which one it was. In the end, we do get some more plant matter, because something I completely forgot, that when you're doing sandbox, you don't start with everything. You gotta slowly unlock it as time goes by through like research and things like this. But anyways, we're starting a new enclosure, and I'll let you know. Have a little guess when it hatches if you can, because the thing I do love about some of these dinosaurs, you're sort of looking at them and you're gonna have to try and guess what it is without it telling you. But after like I'm waiting for the eggs to hatch again, I just went around adding a few benches and bins because my guests are getting tired. As well, we had a baby wildebeest. Jeez, we had a baby wildebeest that I decided to call Jeff. So I was like, yeah, it is Jeff. Welcome to the world, Jeff. I'm still waiting for the eggs to hatch, so I went around adding more toilets and things like this. And here we go. I wonder if you guessed right. This is Camptosaurus, also meaning flexible lizard. And yeah, I remember having a look at these and like they look pretty close, but when you see them walking around, they kind of look like a Gallimimus at first. So I was like, what? Like sometimes you just get confused because a lot of time I just like try and mix as much as possible, but nevertheless, I mean, it still brings back happy memories. Like I really enjoy this, and Camptosaurus is just something you don't really hear about. Like, you know, I don't think I've ever heard someone go, "Oh, that's my favorite dinosaur," or even mention about it. And it's something I don't see regularly at all. So to see in a game is really cool, to be honest, even an old game like this, and it's just a nice looking dinosaur, to be honest, like in the terms of this game anyways. But yeah, that's our little Camptosaurus, and I'm just going to make its enclosure. And I was sort of messing around, like it's like hit and miss trying to guess what you're doing. Well, for me anyways, it's very hit and miss. I'm trying to guess like how much of this do I need, how much of that I need, go back and forth to like this little bit of information here. And yeah, it just brings back happy memories. Like reminiscing, I think is how you pronounce it. The pronunciation is terrible. If you've watched my channel for a while, you'll know I do struggle with pronunciation of very normal words at the best of time. But yeah, honestly, these creatures are great, and the enclosure in the end, which I'll speed through this so you can see what it looks like at the end. I was quite happy. It's probably one of my favourite looking enclosures on this little map so far. So the best thing about Camptosaurus is that they like a lot of foliage, which can make the enclosures really interesting looking, and they look great in your parks, especially out of the majority of the different creatures you make enclosures for, just for the sheer amount of foliage they like. So it can make a nice looking one. Anyways, our next build right now is for the Allosaurus. So I've put down the eggs, I've left them to hatch and do their thing, trying to figure out why the Styracosaurus are still really unhappy, even though their enclosure will suit them. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to add some sea turtles as well. They like a lot of like seaweed and corals and things like this, so you can make a really nice looking aquarium for them that looks busy rather than just completely empty with just 3 rocks in it. But yeah, the Allosaurus has to be my favourite theropod in this game. They look great. The only downside to them, they are constantly noisy, and it's not like a nice little subtle roar, it's a very in-your-face roar, so you know they're in your zoo when you've added them because of how loud they are. And again with this one, they like semi amount of like foliage and rocks, so you can make a pretty good looking enclosure for them. The downside is that they tread on your plant matter and actually break your plants, so time to time it's one of those enclosures where you have to do a fair bit of maintenance onto and fix and replace the plants, because they don't like debris in their enclosures. So as soon as they've destroyed their tree, they get really unhappy that they have a destroyed tree in their enclosure, which is funny nevertheless. But yeah, you've got to sort that out, otherwise they get really angry about it and will end up wanting to escape, which isn't what you want, especially when they start eating your guests. Anyways, I'll zoom through this as well so you can see what the enclosure looks like at the end. As you can see in the background, I'm just adding like loads of plants, going through the checklist, trying to make them all hunky-dory and happy. And you can see that they destroy some of the plants and get angry that there's debris in their enclosure. So you have to kind of clean that up, otherwise they get angry and escape. And I love the way they run around this enclosure. Anyway, that's it for today's episode. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, let me know in the comments if you liked seeing this old game. Until next time, I'll see you later.